Hi, everyone. Happy Friday to you. It's region weather meteorologist Matt Wintz. We've got an important weekend out ahead of us, and we have some outdoor plans, and we have some rain in the forecast. So I just wanted to pop on this Friday night and talk about when those rainfall chances are so you can plan out your weekend out ahead of us, okay? So we'll talk about that. We're not going to do much long term in this. We're just going to strictly talk weekend. I'm going to run our open here real quick, let some people join. You guys can ask questions about anything you could possibly imagine on this Friday night. Cinco de Mayo. We'll be back after this. And welcome in on this Friday night, everybody. I hope you had a nice week. Typically, we don't do Friday evening region weather lives. I'm going to keep this as brief as possible because I know it's a Friday night. I mean, you've got stuff to do. So let's jump right into it. I want to thank our sponsors briefly, Lance's Lawn Care. We've got Ewing Mechanical Services, Tiger Plumbing, PSA, which is Public Service Adjusting.com. Grigors Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and St. Jude House, all wonderful sponsors. Again, we will have a region weather live, our normal one on Sunday night, but they keep the show running for free, which is awesome. All right, so let's jump into it. Here's what we've got weather-wise right now. It feels like spring. It's nice that it's back. I mean, it's so nice that it's back. We really deserve this after what we've been going through. And it's here to stay. That's the good news. I've already had a couple questions come in over the last week and a half or so about planting. Can we get our annuals in the ground? Is it too early to plant still? Because normally we wait till Mother's Day. I think we can get stuff in the ground this weekend, folks. And the reason why is because as we go out towards Mother's Day, there's really no change or no cold air coming in here. Much of the country, especially eastern half of the country, is going to be on the mild side. We may have a couple nights where we back off into the 40s, but I don't think it's enough for frost. We'd have to be in the upper 30s for frost, and I don't see any 30s in the forecast either. So, maybe you didn't have plans to go to the garden center or get your plants in the ground this weekend, but I'm sure everyone will be probably doing that. But either way, it's not a bad weekend for that. Problem is we're going to be dancing around some rain showers. Okay, so here's really the setup right now. It's amazing because we've turned from that cutoff low pressure we had earlier this week with all the cold air and the snow north of here, right? We've gone from that to immediately into the spring/summertime pattern where we have a dome of heat down towards the south. So they're going to have widespread 90s this weekend from Oklahoma down towards Texas. That dome of heat is combined with a stationary front, which is off towards our north. And with that weather setup, if you guys have been around long enough, you remember this. This is kind of the ring of fire pattern where you get these thunderstorms that explode on the low-level jet, and they pop up and they roll right along that ridge. So we've got one right now in areas of Nebraska, all right? And this is a big cluster of storms. What these storms do, they keep going, and they just kind of roll, and then they kind of curve on the map. If you also remember this pattern, you'll remember that computer models are not good at all on this pattern. This is the trickiest weather pattern for the models to get a handle on. Subsequently, it's tricky for meteorologists to, you can get burned by this forecast. Let's just say that. I think we have a good handle on it this weekend in terms of the timing and development of these storms, because oftentimes what we're trying to forecast is an area of storms that doesn't even exist yet. It's not like a cold front. It's something that explodes out of nothing, and then you're tracking that. So it's going to be interesting this weekend. Now, what I do think that's interesting, I'm going to jump into the modeling here, is the fact that I'm seeing on some weather apps and also the National Weather Service are not calling for rain here locally tomorrow. And I think that's a really gutsy call. On the radio shows this morning, I said, I think we need to add rain to Saturday, or at least a chance of it. I don't think it's going to be a washout tomorrow, but there's going to be some thunderstorms in the vicinity. Will they pass just down to our south? They could, but still, just kind of an early look at the weekend. I would plan for a passing shower or thunderstorm tomorrow, and I would also plan for that tomorrow night, especially into Sunday. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Again, modeling is not great with this, but the models have been pretty consistent in what's going on. So we do have rain right now back towards Iowa. That won't affect us. That's going to stay just west of us. Here's the explosive storms back towards Nebraska. That's what really gets things moving. You see how we going into tonight, we'll have radar that's lighting up off towards our west, but we're dry. This is your Saturday, all right? This cluster of storms will be moving in. It's going to be along the instability boundary, which is going to be to our southwest. So I agree that whatever develops kind of starts to curve, and it starts to curve away from us a little bit. But I think this is too close to call. And again, this model may not be right in the placement of this, but I think there's going to be some kind of atmospheric wave of energy coming through. This is tomorrow, midday through afternoon, that could spark some showers and thunderstorms around here. So just something to keep an eye on. Again, I don't want you to go and cancel your plans tomorrow. You can still get outside and do your stuff. We're looking good. We're still in the 70s, but this is just the little feature we're going to have to watch for sometime during the afternoon tomorrow. Once that goes by, this instability boundary starts to build in. So our best chance of rain this weekend is late Saturday evening and then especially Saturday night into Sunday morning. Models have been consistent with this. It develops quite a bit of activity around us. These would be showers and thunderstorms. Some of these could be on the stronger side. Remember, you've got heat and humidity to the south of this. You've got cooler, more stable air to the north, and we're going to be right on that boundary. So we could have some pretty decent heavy rain producing thunderstorms at some point Saturday night into Sunday. And then eventually that cluster should steal the show. From experience of watching these patterns, this is actually my favorite weather pattern because it's challenging. This whole cluster, if it develops, right, this may not even develop. That's the crazy thing about the modeling. And it's crazy that it even initiates this. But again, it's been consistent with this last couple of days. If this does develop and it looks like this will likely steal the show on Sunday. And what I mean by that is that all the energy in the atmosphere locally is going to go towards this. So once it goes down to the south, I think we dry out. So if we can get this thing out of here early Sunday morning, then I think we have a pretty nice Sunday around here with temperatures that are trying to bounce back. We may return with some sunshine, but Sunday looks pretty warm at this point because I think that boundary will be really close to us. So we could poke into the 80s. If we get the rain early and the clouds linger, we'll be in the 70s. Either way, it's going to be spring-like. So those are really the two features we'll be watching. And then into Monday, we'll likely have more storm development that rolls through here. So more storms are possible on Monday. And then that whole boundary will be sagging south. So by Tuesday, we're starting to dry things out. We'll bring in this sprawling area of high pressure Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and that will dry us out midweek. Okay. So again, those are the features that we're watching. This one right here, which is tomorrow, some kind of area of showers and thunderstorms working out of the west. That will be curving away from us, but I still think that energy could spark some rain across northwest Indiana tomorrow afternoon. And then especially tomorrow night, that's when things start to ramp up. Does it ramp up like this? It's still too early to call. It really is. This pattern's impossible. But again, we could have some showers and thunderstorms around here and a pretty good bet at that somewhere in northwest Indiana on Saturday night. And then Sunday, what happens with that? Does that move out? I think so. And then we're left with some more stable conditions, okay? After that, this is just a quick look at the Euro. The Euro also agrees that we get something in here Saturday, albeit not much. And then the big show, here you go, Saturday night and the Sunday with a big cluster of showers and storms. And the Euro pushes that out Sunday afternoon, kind of like the HRRR model did. And then you can see how Monday we're kind of dancing around more showers and storms. And then eventually everything will start to clear out Tuesday morning. Okay, so that's kind of the setup next couple of days. But in terms of temperatures, we're looking okay. We really are. We're looking great. I don't see any cold air masses. I think behind this front, we'll still stay in the 60s and 70s, and that's not bad. And we've got potentially some more 80s in the forecast next week as well, okay? So I hope that helps. Let me ask your questions real quick. Jan's ready to plant and just wash the car. And you know what that means when you wash the car. That means it's going to rain, so I appreciate that. Hi, Dave. Thanks for joining us. Happy Friday to you. Mike, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Totally unnecessary, but I appreciate it. Elizabeth says, so no tornado threat for our area. This isn't going to be a big tornado threat, Elizabeth. With these clusters of storms, not to say you can't get them, but these big clusters of storms, they're often heavy rain, hail producer. I was going to say hailers. And we can also get some strong winds with them as well. So the severe threat is not zero. It depends on where these storms develop. As of right now, it looks like we're going to be on the northern end of most of these, and that's the safer end. That's where you just get a lot of heavy rain. But if that instability boundary goes a little bit further north, I'll show you what I mean. If this boundary goes a little bit further to the north here, and these storms fire over us versus down to our southwest, that would bring in a severe weather threat. Tornado threat, I'm not too keen on, though. There's not a lot of atmospheric dynamics with this. There's not a lot of wind shear or anything like that, okay? Susan, it's okay. You're never late. As long as we're still on, you're not late. Rhonda, thank you very much. I am very much looking forward to the weekend. It's been a long week. I don't even, well, I do know why. I've got this massive project that I'm working on here, and it's just taking every ounce of my brain every single day. So I can't wait till it's over. I'm excited for it, but there's that. Let's see. Carl says, is tomorrow morning going to be dry in Porter County? Carl, it looks like it. That's really tough to say because there's rain just off towards our west that if you were to time it out would move in tonight and tomorrow morning. But what it's going away from, Carl, is where the source of all this is. And the source is all back here. So this rain that's developed out towards Iowa developed because of the jet stream and the poke of wind back here. So it's getting away from the source. So I do think that rain fades. So I do think we'll be dry tomorrow morning in Porter County. All right. Tomorrow, midday and afternoon, when we start to deal with whatever this is, that might be a different story. But again, I think Saturday has a chance of being drier than Sunday morning. It's really Saturday night and Sunday morning that looks like the time that we're going to get some rain in here. It could be pretty decent. Linda, you're welcome. Yes, absolutely. Yes, and Jan mowed the lawn today. That's very smart. I did too, Jan. I got new mulching blades too. I don't know if you guys have the mulching blades. Someone swore that I needed to get mulching blades. And they cut lower, so there's like grass coming out now. So I guess I need to close I don't know. I got some tips on it, but anyway, we mowed today. I mowed today too. I say we, my wife doesn't mow. Let's see. Elizabeth says, thanks for answering my question. I appreciate you not using fear-mongering language for us anxious. Yeah, Elizabeth, there's nothing. These are just going to be thunderstorms. And even if they were big storms, severe storms, we'll get you through it. All right. It's Mother Nature putting on a show, and you are okay, and everyone else will be too. Okay. Carl, you're welcome. Dave says that Kim wants to know if we can open our pool this weekend. Will temp get above 60? What temp, Dave? The water temperature temp? Air temperatures will, for sure. Larry, you're welcome. Yeah, Dave, clarify if you could. Will my temp get above 60? Do you mean, yeah, see, here's the deal. I was thinking about getting our pool out this weekend too. We have like one of those large inflatable ones for the kids. That has a ladder that you go in, and the kids don't go in by themselves. We're good. We're decent parents. Let's just say that. But we were thinking about I was thinking about getting that out this weekend too, because again, there's no big cold snaps. It's not like we get real hot around here, but it's enough to raise that water temperature up. Oh, your water temperature, Dave. Oh man, that's tough. I think you're going to have to fill it with some warm water. Dave, what I've done in the past is I'll actually get a big pot of water, and while we're filling the pool, I'll fill that up with hot water inside, and I'll just take bucket after bucket, just so you have a good starting point. 15 by 30. That's a good pool. I don't know, Dave. I don't know if it will get above 60 on its own. And the reason why I say that is because our overnight lows. We're going to fall back into the 50s. I don't know. If I were a betting person, which sometimes I do, I would say yes. I would say yes, your water temperature is going to get above 60. Yeah, it's tricky, buddy. I don't want to be you and Kim figure that out. I don't want to be the one that makes the decision for you. Maxwell, good question. Do you think we'll have a Dre show? I don't think so, Maxwell. I think we could have something that looks like it. I don't think it's going to go long enough, though. This instability boundary is not long enough like we have in June or July, where we can support Dre shows from Minnesota all the way to Washington, D.C. But this part right here is the interesting one where, again, and Maxwell, when we're looking at this looks really ominous. And if we look at the modeling, we say, oh my goodness, something huge is going to develop Saturday evening. And this looks frightening, right? It's probably not going to develop like this. It's going to look like something different. I haven't looked at the NAM-NEST. Let's just see what it says. So it has no rain, and this might be what the Weather Service is going up. It has this main cluster missing us tomorrow. So the NAM-NEST keeps us dry. Again, Weather Service does too. I would add rain to the forecast. And then you can see how this develops. This is the NAM-NEST. It develops still a line of storms, but it doesn't even bring it through Northwest Indiana. All right. It sags it south, and then there you go. It has something more. This is Monday morning. So you see how the models, they have a handle on it, but they don't have a handle on it. Does that make sense? They're not specific enough to tell us if the big storms are going to be on us, because it's a really tricky pattern. It really is, because this cluster of storms right here that develops, wherever that develops, is based on where yesterday's cluster of storms developed, because it puts out boundaries, right? And then the next day's storms depend on where the day before developed. So if we're wrong here on the modeling, then we're definitely going to be wrong here. All right. So that's what's tricky about it. It's a really hard forecast, even for models to get. And this happens every year. And it's the same pattern where we have heat and we have a frontal boundary, and you get storms that explode. Again, they're not triggered with a cold front, which is, hey, the cold front's going to arrive at 2, we'll have storms at 3, we'll be done. It's not that kind of pattern. It's waiting for storms to blow up somewhere and then tracking them as they go, seeing how far they go, and then developing storms the next day based on that. So I hope that explains the inside baseball in terms of what's going on weather-wise here. Jalen says, I know someone asked about tornado threat. Jalen, I'm not that impressed with it. I'm really not. It's nothing. I wouldn't worry about it. There's a severe threat this weekend. It's not a slam dunk threat. And it would be mainly for Saturday night and Sunday. We would have another one on Monday as well until we get rid of this front. But certainly interesting. Maxwell, yeah, more of a, when he says MSC complex, Maxwell's talking about a mesoscale convective system. So MCS is what it is. And they're just giant complexes of storms. They survive on their own. They're pretty neat. Jalen, no, there's not a huge threat for tornadoes. You may be hearing that elsewhere, but you're also probably hearing about a 0% chance of rain this weekend too, because there's all sorts of forecasts out there on this that I'm seeing. So that's the only reason why I wanted to get on and kind of help you guys plan out your weekend, let you know what I'm thinking. Not saying I'm right, all right, but those are just my thoughts on how this weekend goes, okay? Shelby, hi, Matt. I know you mentioned Northwest Indiana, but big storms in Newton County. Shelby, you are included. When I talk about Northwest Indiana, Newton and Jasper counties are in there for me, okay? So same thing for you. The threat would be a little bit higher. I mean, a little bit higher for you than it would be for Lake Porter and LaPorte counties. And the only reason why is because you're going to be closer to that instability axis, or basically where that instability is. It's going to be working its way in from the southwest. But again, it's not a slam dunk. I think everyone stands an equal threat for rain and storms this weekend. And it's that Saturday night, Sunday timeframe we're watching. And then again on Monday, but we'll deal with that on Sunday. We've got a Sunday night Region Weather Live we can cover that on, okay? That's okay. Sherry popped on super late. We'll give a recap, and then I got to go because I got to do we have a newscast coming up here in about 10 minutes. So let me go back to the model that I agree with the most, not saying it's right. But here's what we're dealing with. I would throw, and this is for Sherry and everyone else, just kind of a Reader's Digest summary of all this. I would throw rainfall chance in there tomorrow. It wouldn't be an all-day thing. It would be a quick hit. It's not even a guarantee. But again, I'm seeing forecasts that don't have any chance of rain tomorrow. And I just think that's really gutsy, saying tomorrow is going to be dry. So here's what we have right now. There's showers out towards the west. This is a pattern that models are really bad at handling. So there's a lot of room for error in this. But the showers to the west should fade as we go throughout the overnight. And then we're going to watch some kind of cluster of storms roll in from the west tomorrow morning. That will fade down to the south along this instability boundary. So it will curve. That's the pattern we're in. But I think there's going to be enough energy in the atmosphere to trigger something. At least it could be just raindrops, but some kind of feature tomorrow afternoon. So I do think we trigger something tomorrow afternoon as that rolls by. Best chance of rain is going to be tomorrow night into Sunday. And this is the HRRR model. It develops just heavy rain and some thunder around here. Nothing severe with this. The severe part would be just down to the south. But we'll have storms around here Saturday night and Sunday as it looks right now. And then Sunday, if this does develop, I think we're fine, because that would steal all the thunder, pun intended, head down to the south and take all the energy out of the atmosphere, and we'd be okay Sunday. And then we'd reload and we get more storms in here Sunday night, Monday. All right. And again, this is all along a boundary that's going to be setting up right over Northwest Indiana, where we could trigger storms at any time. But that doesn't happen because you get these clusters that develop, and then you follow those along that boundary. So that's what we're going to be watching this weekend. Our waves of rainfall, where does each wave go? Still in question. But the best chance of rain is going to be Saturday night, Sunday, and then again into Monday. Okay. Let's see. Yep, Sherry, you're welcome. Diane, hello. And Sherry, it's totally okay. Susan, you're welcome as well, for sure. Bonnie, thank you. Bonnie's asking about or saying congratulations. Thank you. Yes, we have a fourth on the way. We're going to have our hands full, but we're excited. And we actually did a reveal last weekend, but I was waiting for my aunt to hear about it to post it. So not that it matters. It does, but to us. But, I don't think the general public cares if it's a boy or a girl. It's a happy, healthy kid is all we care about. In Lorain County is looking okay. She's Bonnie's one of our Cleveland folks here. In Lorain County looks okay. Bonnie, for Lorain County, what we need to watch is Sunday morning. There's going to be some kind of leftover cluster of showers and storms like this one right here. And if this travels further north, we could have some decent weather around here Sunday morning. And by decent, I mean like a shower and thunderstorm complex that moves through. So we'll keep an eye on that. But for you, Bonnie, we've got news coming up at 11. And I'll highlight it then, okay? Lori, thank you. I'm so I don't want to say anti-social media, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. No comment on that. But I appreciate it, Lori. All right. We'll get going. Let you go on your way. You guys, please have a wonderful Friday night, what's left of it, and enjoy your weekend. We'll have updates as needed this week on any big clusters of storms moving in. But just keep the radar handy, all right, this weekend as we're going to be traveling or tracking some waves of rain that are going to be traveling along that boundary, okay? All right. Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon.